Welcome back to another episode of Penny Help Jess. Today is episode 446, and I whipped out one of the older penny rolls today. And truth be told, I keep them right here on the side of my desk. So I didn't have to go far to get them. I do have to fill it up every once in a while, obviously. Yep. It's not mostly copper. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, maybe 7, 8. Maybe 20 to 25% copper. That's okay. That's fine. I can start that again. If you have been keeping up with the channel, if you watched yesterday's video, then you know that I found the extra V yesterday, the 2023 extra V. In 445 videos, I've only found 2. And I thought that was pretty cool. You know, they sell for between $15 and $20 on eBay. I actually thought this was copper. 88. No flare G. 88D. And that's kind of been the theme of the channel for the past at least month or so, is stepping up my my skill level from the ordinary the typical errors that you can find, the wide AMs, the 2023 Zs, the the other coins that people collect, the 16s, Ps, 2017 P. Oh, look at that. How serendipitous. The 2000, which I do save now. I have a tube that I put them in. Let me have a sip of coffee, wake up a little. What's that? The 2009 variations. The 1982 variations. The extra ears. The die chips. The easy to see die clashes. I wonder what that is there. Let me look at that under the loop real quick. I can't tell. Could be anything, man. It could be anything. Two, starting to look for the more difficult to see double dies, right? So if you've been keeping up with the channel and you're like, oh wow, now we're starting to understand the difference between doubling, right? Which is very typical, especially on copper coins. It's very common especially on copper coins. And extra, and for example, extra thickness, which is here's our first copper coin. which is the the first copper coin we find has doubling. Which deteriorated die and mechanical doubling mimic looks similar to. And it took a while for me to really understand the, oh, that's nice. See, even this one is interesting. Look at that E. I mean, I don't even have to look at this under the loop. Is it extra thickness though? That's the question. It could. I mean, it's really, or is this severe mechanical doubling? Wow, that is something. And the T, you have to wonder if there was something on the die, right? That when it hit it, or inside the wow, that is, let me tell you, that's a beauty. That really is a beauty. And the truth of the matter is, even if something's mechanically doubled, if it's nice doubling, somebody might want to purchase it because it's nice looking. Kind of in a similar, 1960. So this is this comes in the variations, right? The 60 and the 60 D come in small and large dates. I also hold on to those. So if you've been keeping up with the channel, you will know the difference between a true double die and a mechanically doubled or deteriorated die. Doubling. And the way you tell them apart is you ask yourself when you're looking at the doubling, is the doubling within the letter, or does it appear as if the no extra V. Does it appear as if the die, while it was being produced, hit another die and created doubling on the working, at the end it's the working die, right? The one that makes the coin is called the working die. Misaligned die. Deteriorated collar. Did the working die end up with a double die prior to making its first penny? Right, because once it's done being made, the working die, the final die, then that's it. You know, it's not gonna ever hit another die again. If it hits the bottom, if it hits the bottom die anvil, then you'd get a die clash. And that's of course that's different than a double die. Another 17p. That's two of them we found today. And that's been my mission for the past month or so, to really ferret out. I want to see if that's a die chip on the 9. That's doubling in the Liberty. You can see it in the T and the Y and the B. And let me look at that under the loop real quick. Oh wow, no, that's gook. Even though there's some notching and on the date, it's notching, but I don't think it's doubling. Oh, that T looks beautiful, man. The B is nice, but the T to the east. Let me look at the motto. Let me look at the Yamato. And let me look at the reverse real quick. No, it's really that T in Liberty that has doubling. And again, the question becomes, is the doubling within the letter, or is it a true double die? And most likely it is a mechanically doubled. If you look to the, now it's the top of the T, you can see the separation in the T, or the doubling on the T, and the R too, but it's mechanically doubled. Now they have some I haven't found, here goes another 17p. I haven't found a super duper, maybe I found one. Maybe I shouldn't say I haven't found any. Maybe I found one decent or two really good mechanically doubled coins online. If you look up images for mechanically doubled coins, you'll see that some of them are wow. I mean, when I looked at them, I was like, you're telling me that's not a double die? And it's not. And they look super duper spread apart. It's like, holy moly. That, I got to be honest with you, if I found one right now, I would think it's a true double die. That's how fat they were. But the person who is inspecting them is enough of an expert, a numismatist, to know. Oh, 59. It's cool. To know the difference. Look at the G. That's beautiful. And the D. Look at that D. But is that a double die? Probably not. Look at the Liberty. Is that extra thickness? Probably not. Now, what's the next step? Well, it's nice that I have a better understanding of the class 6 double dies, extra thickness. That's really nice. There's only one problem. There's 8 other classes. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you. And maybe if I have time at the end of the video, we'll look at. That's a beautiful 2024. How many pennies we got there? Quite a bit. That's a nice 2024. I will run down the names, the titles, the the 9 types of double dies. Like I said, I got one basically committed to memory, and it took a year for that to happen. So that isn't that bananas? What's it going to take? 8 more years for me to commit the other 8 double dies to memory. I wouldn't. It would, I gotta be honest. It wouldn't surprise me if it takes another 8 years, and still have to do research on them. That's the crazy part. And it took me a year to realize it was going to take me 10 years to learn about, to get a decent, maybe even amateur understanding of a true error. Look at the Y. Versus a deteriorated die. So what will probably happen? What is this? Is that a I put this on my copper. Okay, my copper pile. I said 10. We got so far. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we got one more, we got 10. So far we have 9. It looks like we might have one more copper. If we have one more copper, then we hit our 20% that I like to get. I'll leave it for the last penny. Let's see. Is this copper? I think so. Centered? No. 69D. It's not centered. Usually, if it's centered, you'll see it on the edge. Is it a floating roof? Something odd about this penny, right? Between the darkness, look at the U. Oh, wow. Look at that on the U. That's mechanical doubling. The strike is weak, right? Something weird about it. Maybe it is centered. No, I'm telling you, that's not centering. Lamination error? Interesting. And we have our, I guess we have our 10 videos here. All right, so let's look up the 9 double die classes. If you're still here, then you get an extra treat today. All right, so on Google, they have them just written out real quick. The 9 classes. Okay, I went to Konica. All right, so I went to Konica and we'll review the 9 classes of double dies real quick. And remember, it's the class 6 that I've been focusing on for the past month. Class 1, rotated hub doubling. This is the type one imagines as many of the big classic double dies, like the 1955 double die. Okay, that's the one where you see the real big doubled, for example, double date. Like it just super clear. The misalignment in the hub doubling emerges from 2 separate hubbings. Okay, so 2 separate hubbings, I'm assuming they mean when the When they made one of the dies and they struck it, it was struck twice. Prior to the second hubbing, the working hub or the working die. Okay, so they're calling the hub the die. See, I didn't even know that, or I wasn't able to comprehend that before. Class 1 double dies are identified as displaying a clockwise or counterclockwise. All right, well, it has to be one or the other, right? Class 2 distorted hub doubling. Harder to find empirical evidence to conclusively prove the cause of the hub doubling, most often characterized by misalignment, event relating to, see, this is a lot of having a spread along the outer, okay. So this is the one where you'll see the, like on the reverse, mostly it's usually on the, well, not really, but yeah, I think on the reverse, you'll see America spread towards the rim. I found that one like a few days ago, and that's a class 2. Here goes, dies are annealed to make them softer so that they are more susceptible to taking an impression of the hub. The hub, in contrast, is tempered, quickly cooled. All right, so that's the one where it looks like the letters are spread towards the either the outer, towards the rim, or towards the center. Okay, design hub doubling, class 3. One of the easier double dies to explain, yet the least common to have occurred. The first hubbing, which is a different design, slightly altered, such differing designs mixed up could, from an intentional alteration during the years, designs from, I don't understand that. So it's totally different hubs, intentional alterations. All right, so that's, for example, the 1942-41. All right, so you see what, like different dates over different years. Okay. Examples of the 1960D. Many involve the date, right, which is what I just said, such as a so-called large date and small date being, oh, okay, so that's what I thought. All right, so that would be a class 3. You got the different years, and they said intentionally. All right, whatever that means. Class 4, misalignment, 2 hubs. Unlike the class 1 or 5, which is the next one, the doubling goes towards the center and will show notching. See, I never really understood what they meant by notching. I'd have to see what they mean by that. Oh, the tilt, hybrid, hypothesis. I mean, look how scientific and eggheady it gets into theories and hypothesis. I mean, this is why a lot of this stuff, a lot of people do not get into, because it involves so much thought process. To 99.999% of the time, it's not even a double die. Class 5, pivoted hubs. Understanding pivoted hub doubling will be easier. The pivoted hub doubling differs is the point of rotation is very near or at the rim, while rotated hub doubling may not always be dead center. Nevertheless, as long as that is in the center area, is considered a class 1. Anything near the rim is considered a class 5. The degree of rotation or the spread, and that's another key word, spread, notching, is strongest opposite the pivot point. Doubling progressively diminishes from there as you move towards the pivot point. So how you figured that out? That's another thing that would probably take a class or a very long time to understand the pivot point where you would, you know, and these are things that you learn from years and years and years of constantly. Class 6, distended hub doubling. So I thought the class 6 is the it's called distended hub doubling. I think this is the extra thickness. The dubbing related is sideways, right? Is sideways. Such examples must be maybe hemispherical in that half the coin is largely reminiscent of a class 6. That's class 2. See, I think the class 6 is what they call the extra thickness. The twisted regions that typically appear, sloping. I mean, these are super technical definitions. Modified hub doubling. Suspected misalignment event for class 7s was rooted in the idea. So you're talking about all theory and, oh boy. Class 8, tilted hub doubling. Partial hubbing. The die tilts from any given point outside the midsection. The corresponding lateral movement of the hub misaligns the perimeter of the hub with the die below. This will cause the doubling to go inward towards the center of the die, along with the tilt, the hub, and the inherent misalignment. There can be some rotation or pivot or end up offset in any given. I mean, this is super duper technical stuff. Again, spreading stemming from the hub being tilted or offset laterally southeast. And then class 9, single squeeze. The 2 types of doubling: jointed, roly-poly, hybrid doubling, die stage, die state, and die markers, current index. All right, so as you can see, this stuff is very complicated, and even a very brief overview, it's probably taken me over a year just to understand the language, what the words mean in syntax. Individually, I knew what most of these words meant, but strung up in a sentence, I was confused, and it's taken probably 14, 15, 16 months of doing this type of research to understand the syntax, what they mean in a sentence together. What anyway, so I have comprehension when I read a sentence. Now I have comprehension, even though I haven't done it enough. I haven't practiced it enough to commit it to memory. Which is why here on class 6, it does not say in class 6 extra thickness, but I know this is extra thickness because I studied it long enough. And it said, and when it says spreading of lateral spread, I understand, a sideways spread, I understand that means that's what a extra thickness one looks like. They go from side to side, and I've looked at enough examples, but it's taken me a year to understand one of these classes. Anyway, so I like doing that every once in a while and reviewing some of the egghead information that most people might never have even read before, because that's what I do on the channel. I like to learn about the specific understandings of an era so I can find one and possibly make money. And one day what happened, so I have boxes. See, these here, right? This row here are for the most likely extra thick, mechanically doubled pennies, right? These are the mechanically doubled pennies that I found. These are the regular coppers. I'll look at these for a second time when I make my short videos. And if I like them, I'll put them into a flip and I'll put MD, mechanically doubled, on them. And then at one point in the future, I have boxes already of stuff like this. So I have tons of YouTube when they stop making pennies, Of course, I have my overflow in the basement for the videos, but I could start, and especially if I get a bigger workspace, I can start looking at these mechanically doubled coins underneath a microscope and really check them out really close to look at the notching, the spreading, the pivoting, all that stuff. I can look at that for my next level. But for right now, we're getting the basics down, and hopefully that helps some of the viewers. All right, thank you. God bless. This is what I say. It should be episode 446. I'm not sure if that's what I said at the beginning of the video. Yeah, this is episode 446. I'll see you in episode 447. God bless.